Welcome back. Thanks for joining me. If you're new here, hi, I'm Liv. I'm a Colorado makeup artist and I love everything related to makeup and beauty. My job is to make you feel as beautiful on the outside as you are on the inside. I love trying new products, discussing makeup, and teaching and sharing all of the tips and tricks that I have learned throughout my own journey. So today we are going to start with the trying new products. Sephora just ended their holiday savings event. They only do 2 savings events a year. So this was for the holiday season. It just ended on November 7th. And one of my final purchases from that sale was actually the new Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes eyeshadow palette. And I saw the promos, I saw reviews, and immediately I was like, check out, we're trying this one because it just speaks to me. So today we are going to not do one, but we're going to do 2 different looks with this palette because I feel like a lot of the YouTube side of reviews are very like, let's see what we can get out of this palette. Whereas when I watch the promos and Mario doing tutorials with it, it's very light and airy type of looks. So today I wanted to do both. So we're going to do 2 looks today. Before we get started, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It helps me out so very much. And let's get going. I did go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, so all of those products will be listed in the description below. But let's jump into the palette. So this is what it looks like. It's metal, which is cool. His other palettes are plastic. Now I only purchased the Master Mattes palette, but I do really enjoy it and I know the formula of those mattes is good. Beside the point, the packaging is different. That is more plastic and this is metal. It's heavy, it's nice, it's weighted, it's good. Now let's dive into it. There are 12 shades. So from what I understand, there are 3 topper shades, which is this row. There are 2 metallics, which are these 2, and then the rest are matte. And I did learn that the matte formula is not actually the same as his Master Mattes palette. They're different formulas, so I am excited to try those. I didn't try his metallic palette or the one where you like shave it off and mix it with the medium mixer or something like that. I didn't try either of those palettes. They are really beautiful. They didn't fall into my collection. So I am excited to try the 2 metallics, but honestly my heart is in these 3 topper shades. I love toppers. I really enjoy the ones out of the Patrick Ta palettes, and I really enjoy the toppers in the Auric Smoke Reflex, especially in the shade Defiance. Those are some of my all-time favorite toppers. So that's where my heart lies. So I did go ahead and swatch all of the shades. So here are the 7 mattes. These are the 2 metallics, and then these 3 are the toppers. From what I understand is that this second metallic shade is more a little satiny. There's no chunkiness to it. Where this first metallic does have actual glitter flakes in it. It is a bit more chunky, but it seems to have a bit more punch to it as well. And then these are the 3 topper shades, which my understanding is that they are actually translucent. There's not an actual base color to them, but I will say this one in the center does seem to have a bit more of a base than the other 2. But they are meant to be more translucent, very shimmery, glittery. I mean, they all swatched very, very nicely. They're all super soft. They are a bit powdery, especially these mattes, but if powdery kickback in the pan doesn't bother you, it doesn't really bother me either. Okay, now that I've shown off the swatches, let's go ahead and get started. These shades are numbered on the back, but they're like EE1, EE2, EE3, so like Ethereal Eyes 1, 2, and 3, and so on. So I'm just going to point to the shades for now. I'm going to start with this shade. There is quite a bit of kickback in the pan, but honestly that doesn't bother me, so if it doesn't bother you, you should be good to go. So I'm just going to start that color kind of above my real crease and lay it down as a transition shade. So far, I'm not noticing a difference between his Master Mattes formula and this formula, but I mean, it's working very nicely. I like to keep his Master Mattes palette in my makeup kit actually, so I'm very used to it. And these shades are working very similarly. Next, I'm going to go into this brown shade. This is the second darkest matte of the palette. And I happen to enjoy a look where I pack on a pretty dark color all over the lid and then blend it out and then use a topper shade over it. It's one of my go-to looks with my Patrick Ta Major Dimension 1 palette. That's the kind of look that I normally do, so that's how I'm going to test this palette out myself. And then our second look can be a little bit different than what I would normally do. I will say these shades are pigmented. I picked up quite a bit and I haven't dipped back in yet. It's also an easy palette to pick up a lot very quickly. And there is some fallout. If you don't enjoy fallout, you might want to do your eyes first. I mean, that's a pretty color. I like that shade of brown. The fallout swept away really easily too, so if you are like me and like to do the rest of your face first, it's not like it's really difficult to sweep away. So now I'm going to mix the shade we started with and this lighter brown here, these two shades, and kind of transition it to the original shade we put on. I'm liking that second brown shade that I'm mixing with. It brings quite a bit of warmth into the look. Alright, I'm pretty happy with where things are at now, so I'm actually going to go into the darker metallic shade. I don't know if I mentioned, but this is a bit more satiny where it's very smooth. It doesn't have the chunky glitters to it, but it is definitely metallic. And I'm going to just use my finger and press over the whole entire lid. And because we put a dark shade under it, it's not really going to pop so much. But it does change it just a little bit. Now I'm going to go back into my blending brush and I'm just going to smooth that satin shade out a little bit. And then I am super excited for this topper shade. It seems to have a little bit of a gold base to it, but it is still very translucent and shimmery and just all the things that make me happy. So that's the shade I'm going to go into, and I'm just going to use my fingers again. These feel so silky smooth, and I am just going to place it more towards the center to help that part of my eye pop. And I am going to take it above my crease, so you can definitely see this one. Okay, yeah, there's definitely some sparkle going on. Makes me very happy. I am just going to take like a blank blending brush and I'm just going to make sure they're blended on the edges so it doesn't look too harsh of a halo eye. And again, there is some fallout with the shimmer shades. Now I'm going to go back into this warmer shade. I really enjoyed this shade and I'm just going to be using a smaller pencil brush and start applying it to the lower lash line. I'm going to make sure it connects to the shadow I've got here. And I am going to take that from my inner corner all the way to the outer corner. Now I'm going to pick up the same color but on the brush that we used the dark brown shade on, because I want to pinch the brush and just add a little bit more dimension under. Okay, I can't help it. I want to dive into the other metallic shade. This one is a little bit more chunky, so I am going to wet my brush with some setting spray. So I just picked it up on a small little brush and then I'm just going to spray. And hopefully this will help with the fallout, because I would like to place this in the lower lash. That's fun. That shimmer shade has a bit more silver in it, whereas the topper shade I used is a bit more gold. But hey, who says we can't mix metals, right? Okay, and finally I'm going to go into what I would say is the lightest topper shade here. This one is really universal. There's no base tone to it. Of the three, it's got the least amount of an under color to it. So I'm going to add this to the inner corner. And you know, these shades are all applying really well with a brush. I mean, there's fallout whether I used my finger or the brush. Okay, in my defense, I'm a very sparkly type person. So this brings me a lot of joy. So I'm going to put on the mascara, finish my lips, and then I'll show you the finished first look. Alright, so here is our first look. I feel pretty confident right now that I'm going to love this palette. So stay tuned for look number 2. It's going to be a lot softer and not so intense. But of course, I had to do it the YouTuber way first and make it bold and see how much we can really push this palette. I know it's a neutral palette. That's not everybody's favorite, but it is totally up my alley. I love neutrals. So I'm very, very pleased with how this performed, how this look turned out, and I'm really excited to keep playing with it. So part 2. Alright, so this look is going to be a little calmer than my last one. I feel like today we're going to do something very similar to Mario's promos. So to begin, I kind of want to go into this more taupey shade. And I'm going to start by placing that in my crease area. It's kind of taupey, but it does have a little like hint of mauve to it. It's really pretty. So I use a clear-ish eyeshadow base. It's from Urban Decay. It's the Eyeshadow Primer Potion. But I do know if you use a more like opaque base, like white, your shades are going to come out a bit more like their truer color. If you're curious on seeing that type of look, I know Rose from Rose and Ben Beauty, she has tutorials on this palette doing that. So she's got a white base on, and then she uses this palette. So if you're interested in something like that, go check Rose out. I'm definitely in love with that shade though. Aside from the toppers, that's probably my favorite color in here. Now I'm going to go into this shade. This is the lightest shade in the palette. They're the lightest matte. And I just want to set my lid space because I do want to keep things really nice, light, simple. But because I have hooded eyes, my lids will crease really bad if I don't set that primer. This light shade is pretty opaque too. There's some pigment to it, which is nice. That's what I wanted. I'm just going to go back to my first brush, kind of blend those two shades together a little bit more in my crease area. So this middle topper is the only one that I haven't used out of the 3, so I'm going to pick that shade up with my finger. Gosh, they're so creamy. And I'm going to place it all over my lid. Oh snap. That's gorgeous. I'm not going to lie, I'm enjoying this look a little bit more than my more heavy smoky look because this is very me too. So I am going to pick up a little bit more of that more taupey shade, the first one we used on our crease, and I'm just going to start placing that on my lower lash line. And I am doing it from corner to corner and also making sure to connect it on this outer portion out here. So I do want to try out this more pink shade too. So I'm just going to take a really big fluffy brush and just barely tap into it, like not a whole lot of product there. And I'm just going to lightly sweep it above that taupey shade and just help blend everything up to my brow bone. And I didn't pick up a lot of product, so it's not gonna have like a heavy effect. And then I'm just gonna pinch the brush now and also take that on my lower lash line. Okay, I really like how this look is. I love the shimmer. I love that topper shade. But I'm kind of debating whether or not we should kind of add a little bit of a wing. I think I'm gonna go into the darkest matte shade and just place it right along my lash line just to emphasize my lashes a little bit more. I don't have a lot of lid space because my eyes are so hooded, so I try to do a really tight eyeliner look next to my lashes. That way, what lid space I do have, you can still see it. The cool thing is, even though I'm using like a tiny brush, you can still blend with such small brushes. This formula in particular is very, very blendable. I think the deeper brown shades are the ones with the most fallout, or at least that I can see. I probably couldn't see it with that really light shade. Now I'm going to go into this topper shade again and highlight my inner corner. Alright, so I'm going to get some mascara on, do my lips, and we will come back for my final thoughts. But so far, this is the second, more ethereal looking look. Alright, so here is my finished look number 2. I just added some mascara and a lip to match that kind of taupey shade because I love it. And I'm really happy with it. I think I like this look better than my first look, but definitely ethereal in my opinion. I hope you guys like this look as much as I do. But I am curious on your thoughts, so let me know which look you do like more. Honestly, they were both beautiful to me, so either one is a winner. But let's get into some of my final thoughts about this palette. I do really enjoy the packaging. I think it's high quality. I am obsessed with the formulas. I think the matte formulas are amazing. I really, really like these topper shades. From what I can tell, the two metallics are wonderful as well. I do think that these darker colors tend to have a little bit more fallout than the topper shades, the metallics, or these lighter mattes, but that's just my opinion. The mattes are quite powdery, so they will kind of kick up as you dip your brush in, but that's a preference thing that doesn't bother me. I will say this palette is pricey. I believe it's $68 US dollars. And I did purchase this at the tail end of the Sephora Holiday Sale, so I got 20% off of it. Personally, I don't think I would have purchased this if I didn't have that discount, so maybe wait until the next sale. However, online it does say that this is limited edition, which I hope that's not true. I hope this stays as a permanent product in his line because I think it is beautiful. However, if not having a discount doesn't bother you, the $68, totally go for it because this is stunning. I hope this demo has really helped you decide on what kind of palette you're interested in, if this is the palette you're in the market for. Either way, I think there is a lot of good options in here, a lot of different ways you can do looks. Like you can definitely have this more ethereal look. You could definitely have a darker, smokier eye look and go from there. Like, this has got lots of options for you. And of course, it is neutral. So if you're a neutral person like myself, this is going to really speak to you. If you're not a neutral person, you're more into colorfulness, this might not speak to you. Same as if you are solely a matte person, this does have a lot of sparkle to it, which is totally up my alley. It might not be up yours, but overall, I do think this is a really, really good product. I'm really happy that I did purchase it during that sale. After the reviews that I have seen on it, I'm really glad that I didn't wait. But those are some of my opinions. I would love to hear what yours are on the palette. If you've tried it already, let me know what you're thinking. If you haven't tried it, I'm interested to know if you are going to pick it up now that the sale is over. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out so very much. Don't forget to ring the bell and hit all on your notifications and you'll be notified every time I post a video. I am here twice a week and I can't wait to see you next time. So in the meantime, be natural, be beautiful, and be you.